Russia rolled out what they called the future of warfare, a killer robot tank that would fight battles without risking a single Russian soldier. The Uran-9 was Putin's crown jewel, a 12-ton unmanned combat vehicle bristling with missiles, cannons, and cutting-edge tech. Military analysts worldwide held their breath. Then Syria happened. What unfolded next wasn't the dawn of robotic warfare, but a masterclass in how not to build a combat system. The Uran-9 began as an ambitious idea. In 2015, Russia announced that it was developing a robotic combat vehicle that could fight without any human crew inside. The machine would be controlled remotely by soldiers far away from the battlefield. This meant that no lives would be risked while the tank scouted dangerous areas or fought enemy forces. The project was developed by Russian defense companies JSC-766UPTK and Kalashnikov Concern, both under the state-owned corporation Robotic. It was advertised as the beginning of a new era in warfare, where robots would replace soldiers on the front lines. In 2016, Russia proudly presented the Uran-9 to the world. It was described as a next-generation combat vehicle that could outclass any existing tank. Russian officials, including Vladimir Putin himself, praised the project. They said it would give Russia a massive advantage and make other armies look outdated. On paper, the Uran-9 seemed unstoppable. It weighed 12 tons, stretched 16 feet long, and could travel over 20 miles per hour. It carried a 30mm automatic cannon, a 7.62mm machine gun, and powerful anti-tank missiles. Its sensors and cameras were said to be so advanced that it could automatically detect, track, and destroy targets without any human help. Russia promised that its army would receive 20 Uran-9 units by the end of 2016. To make things even more impressive, Russian officials began offering the robot tank to other countries. They claimed that nations like Myanmar, Saudi Arabia, and India were already interested in buying it. The media showed videos of the Uran-9 rolling across test fields, firing weapons, and shining under spotlights. The message was clear: Russia had built the future of war. It seemed that nothing could go wrong. But then, reality struck. In 2018, the Uran-9 was sent to Syria for its first real combat test. This was the moment when Russia hoped to prove to the world that its invention could dominate the battlefield. Instead, it proved the opposite. A detailed report from A.P. Anisimov, a senior researcher in the Russian Ministry of Defense, revealed that the Uran-9 failed almost every single test it faced. The first major problem was communication. In theory, the robot could be controlled safely from long distances. In practice, the control signal kept cutting out. In cities with low buildings or rough terrain, the operators could only control it from about 300 to 500 meters away, less than half a mile. Beyond that, the signal disappeared completely. During the Syrian tests, there were 17 short-term signal losses and 2 long-term ones, one of which lasted over an hour. In a real battle, even a few seconds without control can lead to disaster. Losing a connection for more than an hour made the Uran-9 not just unreliable, but completely useless. Mechanical problems also made the situation worse. The robot's suspension and wheels kept breaking down, forcing soldiers to stop and repair it during missions. In the middle of combat, this is dangerous and unacceptable. A war machine that needs constant fixing cannot survive a real battle. The Uran-9's vision systems were also a disappointment. The cameras and sensors that were supposed to spot enemies from miles away failed to perform. In Syria, the Uran-9 could only identify targets up to about 2 kilometers away, and even then it often made mistakes. Sometimes it marked harmless objects as enemies or failed to detect real threats at all. Its smart technology was not so smart after all. Even the weapons, which were supposed to be the tank's greatest strength, didn't work properly. The main cannon jammed several times and stopped firing completely once. The tank could not shoot while moving because it lacked stabilization, meaning it had to stop every time before firing. Modern tanks can drive and shoot at the same time, but the Uran-9 behaved like a toy robot that had to stand still before attacking. In the age of fast-moving drones and mobile warfare, that made it practically useless. Anisimov's report concluded that the Uran-9 was not ready for real combat. Instead of being a sign of progress, it became a symbol of failure. The dream of a robotic army had collapsed. Still, the Russian government refused to admit defeat. In 2019, the Ministry of Defense officially accepted the Uran-9 into military service. Officials like Kalashnikov's CEO, Vladimir Dmitriev, claimed that the problems found in Syria had helped them improve the design. They promised better communication, stronger sensors, and more reliable performance. But there was no evidence that anything had truly been fixed. Soon after, an independent report from BAE Systems, a British defense company, confirmed what many already suspected. The Uran-9 was still deeply flawed. The report said its sensors could only detect targets at short distances. Its weapons were useless while moving, and there were long delays between firing commands and actions. It also noted that the Uran-9 was extremely vulnerable to electronic warfare, meaning its control signal could easily be jammed or hacked. BAE's conclusion was clear. The Uran-9 was unreliable, unstable, and unfit for combat. The report suggested it would take another 10 to 15 years before technology like this could be truly effective. Despite the promises and propaganda, no foreign country ever bought the Uran-9. Myanmar, once considered the most likely buyer, turned down Russia's offer after seeing the test results. Even with discounts and trade deals, no one wanted a machine that didn't work. Billions of rubles had been spent and nothing had been gained. When Russia invaded Ukraine in 2022, many expected the Uran-9 to finally prove itself. If it was really as advanced as officials claimed, this would have been the perfect opportunity to show it. But it never appeared on the battlefield. Not once has the Uran-9 been seen in combat during the war. Instead, Russia has relied on old Soviet tanks from the 1970s and simple homemade ground drones built by volunteers. The robotic revolution that Putin once promised never arrived. The story of the Uran-9 has become a symbol of Russian overconfidence. It shows what happens when a country values propaganda more than progress. Putin wanted to show the world that Russia was a military superpower, but the Uran-9 revealed the truth. Behind the speeches and parades, much of Russia's technology simply doesn't work. Soldiers in the field learned they could not depend on it. Many turned instead to smaller, simpler robots made by ordinary engineers, which often worked better than the expensive Uran-9. Today, the Uran-9 stands as a reminder of failure. It was supposed to lead a new age of robotic warfare, but instead it has been forgotten. It was built to make Russia proud, but it ended up humiliating its leaders. It looked powerful in videos, but in real life, it broke apart, lost signal, and failed to fight. The story of the Uran-9 teaches an important lesson. In war and in technology, talk is easy, but results matter. Promises and propaganda cannot make a broken machine work. The Uran-9 was never ready for battle, and its failure proved that even the most powerful governments can be wrong. For Vladimir Putin, the robot tank that was supposed to show Russia's strength became the symbol of his weakness.